I'm Sylvia, and this is my husband Eric, and we are the parents of 5 children
And
and 9 grandchildren.
9 grandchildren. And this is a story about one of our sons and
Our second son.
and a big change in me that happened as a result of learning to praise. And when this boy was 8 or 9 years old, he was full of life. And from my point of view, it was pretty negative. He was a bad kid.
He was a happy kid. He just was very busy. Very busy.
But I saw him as frankly a bad kid and somebody who was full of trouble and needed to be reined in. And my headset back then was, we need to punish this kid. And we need to punish him big time so he can learn to be, more calm like his brother. Well, Utah Youth Village hired a national expert in helping troubled kids. And I went to talk to him about my troubled kid. And I explained what he was doing and how difficult he was. And the guy said, well, what I want you to do is I want you to praise him 4 times as much as you criticize him. And I remember thinking, I'm not the one with the problem. I have a doctorate degree and I'm a professional. He's the one who's screwed up. And he was just calm and patient, and he was like, I need you to try this. And not only that, I want you to report back to me. And so I went home and I thought, okay, I'm going to praise this kid. But if I praise him, he'll get even worse, And so I start praising him. And after 2 days of doing this and keeping track of it, I went back and I said, this just isn't working. This feels like totally phony. Like I'm having to make stuff up to find anything to praise this kid about. Now you got to realize this is my son. I loved him, but I didn't like him. And he loved me. I was his dad, but he didn't like me. And in other words, our relationship had gotten really bad because I was so negative all the time and finding faults with him. And so the guy at the village, he goes, well, let me ask you, does it not feel sincere? And I go, no, it's no way it's sincere. It's all phony. He goes, well, do you feel sincere when you criticize? Oh, yeah. That's sincere because that's what he deserves, And then the more I was talking, the more I could kind of hear myself, this just doesn't sound right. And he says to me, well, Eric, it may be that you're not as practiced praising as you are criticizing. And he was exactly right. Well, after 3 weeks of doing this, it all of a sudden became a ton easier to praise him. And I started to like him. It was like, wow, he's a neat kid. And I love his energy. I love how much fun he is. One day, when his brother was studying in the living room, at the dining room table, and he comes up to his brother and praises him and says, you're such a good studier. I like how you do that. And I remember turning to my wife and going, can you believe that? What's going around is coming around. He's praising back. And it totally changed my relationship with him. Not only was he able to praise his brother, which is something that was really cool to see, but he started to become really positive, and he was just so much easier to be around. And when I needed him to calm down, he started to calm down. It was like he did things to please me because I was investing in him.
Yes.
And that was huge. And it took about 3 weeks. From the time I seriously started to find what was right with him, in about 3 weeks, he was a whole different kid.
And you were a different parent.
Big time.
And it made a huge difference rather quickly.
So I guess if I were to give advice to anybody, even when you think that your kid's going to get worse if you find good things in them, which is where I was totally, I can't praise him at all or he'll get worse. Boy, are you wrong.
I think with your children, you love them so much, it's pretty easy to compliment them and love them.
Praise works. I mean, it really works great.
And you've learned to be really good at praising the family and our kids and grandchildren.
That's because you're such a wonderful mother and wife.
Yeah.
Got some praise there.